Whoa, 15 likes already. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Cool shirt available at Dylan Talks Tone. How are you?
Present.
Present and accounted for. Well, so this is a Q&A that we do every week. We talk about guitar stuff. And Leslie takes care of the comments section, and I help answer the questions. And then later on, we'll do some off-topic stuff that will be fun. We have some questions that came in from Patreon. We also have super chats that you can use. We'll drop what we're doing and answer that question almost right away. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, and then the subject for tonight is I want to know from you what there. So I have a bunch of guitars that I like, and people seem to just have some issue with them. You know, like my MGK guitar comes to mind. The fact that I have a Silver Sky. What's another one? The latest one that has just come out, I don't have it, but is the Epiphone Peter Green.
Super chat from Tony Leonardi. Thank you for the super chat, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Good evening, Leslie and Dylan. I'm not going to be able to watch live, so I just wanted to say hello. I hope you guys have a good night.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming and saying hello. Yeah, so I want to know from you, like, what you think are the, what are the most controversial guitars of all time when it comes to that? Obviously the Relic thing comes up, which this new thing I got is this Mike McCready Strat is amazing. I don't want to give out too much before the review, but if you are on the fence about buying one, don't be. Just buy it. It's good. It feels like an old guitar. It's really good. It's not a custom shop Strat for sure, but it's also not $6,000. So it's nice. I like it a lot. Yeah. So controversial guitars. Which one do you think, of everything that I've ever owned, made the most waves?
Anything pink.
Anything pink. Yep. Which means we're just getting started.
I don't know what that means.
I have another pink one coming. My Texas Toast Challenger is pink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what people are saying?
I do.
Or no?
Yeah, let's do it.
Ryan Jess says, how about that new Lizzie Hale Kramer?
See, that thing's neat, and I think if you're a Voyager guy, you would buy it, but it's also very sparkly. You would like it. It's purple sparkles.
Rusty said, reverse flying V.
Was that actually ever really a thing? I mean, I've seen gag guitars, but I didn't know that was actually a thing.
Hawkman Hawk says, the Wang Caster.
I mean, yeah. That's not real, though. I mean, it's somebody made it, yes, but it's not really a thing.
A Room with a Mini Moose says, the Gibson Firebird X and robot guitars.
Wow, okay, yeah. The Firebird X those were two really, what's interesting is those were two really good products that were marketed very, very poorly. Yep.
Angel Raven 444 says, anything with a white pick guard.
Ha! Love it.
It's Victoria G. The Gibson SG was controversial when you first got it. I remember a lot of spicy discourse.
True, because everybody thought that even though many players for many decades have played SG Juniors with no problem, that the guitar was never going to stay in tune and it was not going to work right and blah, 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 even though That's absolutely not true. I do remember that.
Van Shank Guitar says, I don't see any guitars as being controversial. They all have their place.
Agreed.
Timothy Potter says, I don't get that. They're your guitars, not theirs.
Agreed. I'm just thinking in general, though. Anything that you think of, too.
Octopus Ears says, pro tip, play what you like, not what someone else thinks is cool.
Amen.
The Guitar Curator says, you like what you like. Nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't get an MGK guitar, as I'm sure you wouldn't want my Paul Stanley guitar.
I would have a Paul Stanley guitar, but I wouldn't take it anywhere or tell anyone.
Sunbay says, in the 80s, Steinberger was very controversial with some players. Now it seems that $1,000 Eppies and $600 Squires are controversial with some.
Yeah, I think the amount of controversy that a $600 Squire or a $1,000 Epiphone is commensurate with how old you are and how much inflation you have experienced in your life.
Rusty said, yes, Gibson made the reverse flying V with a modern split headstock.
I'm going to have to look that up. I totally believe you. I've seen it. I didn't know it was an actual production instrument.
Let's see. Shark Air says the good thing about pink is you can always spray flat black over the top. And then
Oh, I love it.
Shatev 0 Fs says the double 612 Strang.
Yeah, double necks are dumb. I agree.
And they also said headless.
See, and that's an interesting one to me because, to be fair, there is no reason for a guitar to have a peg head. There isn't. There's no reason for it. But because it's what we're used to, yeah.
It's Victoria G. Brian May Guitars Special is controversial because hardcore fans think it isn't accurate enough, and everyone else thinks I won't buy it because I'm not gonna be in a Queen cover band, and that's all it's good for.
I get that. I think about that with the Strat that I just bought because it's a Mike McCready Strat. It looks exactly like his guitar. And I'm not going to be in a Pearl Jam cover band, but I just bought it because I like it. The other guitar I think of when I think of that type of thing is the Epiphone or the Eddie Van Halen Frankencaster. Because it looks exactly like his guitar. You can't play like him. I can't play like him. So there's no point in actually owning it unless you just think it's cool. You know what I mean?
All right, just a few more here.
Okay.
3J Music says, I don't know if it's most controversial, but some polarizing is the Longhorn. You either love it or hate it.
Aha, there you go. Yep.
It's Victoria G. Samurai Guitarist has a reverse flying V and is its most staunch defender.
I can see that because Samurai Guitarist is pretty out there. He's awesome.
Rusty says, any bolt-on neck on a Gibson Les Paul?
So there isn't really any of those except for very low-end Epiphones.
Tom Vidler says, Westone Pantera bass with swappable fretted and fretless necks from the 1980s.
Ooh. I think Westone is back in business. I think somebody bought their the rights to their name. I think they're just Chinese guitars now, but I'm pretty sure they're back.
It's Victoria G said, Kiesel guitars are controversial because people either have an opinion on Jeff Kiesel or complain about how the company was better as Carvin.
That is true. The personality of Jeff Kiesel is more controversial than the guitar itself, probably.
All right, last one. Rob Steffi says, whatever happened to, it's just awesome people play. One side is snobby. The other side is justifying their less valued guitar. Play what you can and enjoy the dang trip.
Amen to that. Amen to that. It's fun. It's just, I was just thinking about it earlier today because I was literally looking around my room and I'm like, I was moving some guitars around because I have to move some guitars around. And I was like, yeah, there's like a whole stack of them that people could say like, yeah, I would never ever have that, for various reasons. And it's just interesting to hear what other ones besides the ones I think of. Just fun. You want to do our Patreon questions?
Sure.
Let's do them.
Rob. Hello, Leslie and Dylan. Is it possible to submit an image of my rig for review by Dylan without a Facebook account? Thanks.
Oh, yeah. So, we are doing another rig roast. So go to the Dylan Talks Tone Insiders group on Facebook and submit a picture of your rig for the next rig roast. We'll probably do it next week. Don't worry, we're not going to say anything mean about your guitar. It's just fun to call it that. What did we say? What did I say I was going to call it? Dylan something tone, but I can't remember. We made it up on Tuesday. Now I can't remember. Anyways, that's what we're going to do probably next Thursday. We'll do our rig roast. So go to the Facebook page and do that. For those of you, most everybody should. I know Rob does not have a Facebook page, or Facebook. So Rob, you're on Patreon. So just send me a message on Patreon with your picture. I think you can put a picture in a message on Patreon. So that's what I would do in that case.
Cool. Charles. Oh, my bad. I just assumed that's what I was reading. Charlie.
Oh,
Charlie.
we have to get out my phone.
Hi,
See how
Dylan.
it says continued?
Hi, Dylan. New Patreon member from Australia. I came across your channel recently and wanted to firstly say that I think what you're doing here is awesome. I've already learned so much from your content, so thank you. I'm just over the beginner stage of playing. Been playing for about a year and 6 months, so I've been finding it
Yeah, hang on. I gotta get there. Let's see. I gotta get there. I've been finding it interesting to learn more about my instrument other than just how to play it. But sometimes when you explain things, I'm still not quite sure either a part you're referring to or an electronics-related topic. I can't wrap my head around, so I feel like I would already have to know a fair bit to get the most out of your content. Can you or have you ever done a video completely breaking down parts and electronics of a guitar and in a simple but accurate explanation of what they do? I know some guitars will differentiate, but mainly talking about the standard elements of every guitar. That would be so awesome for some of your audience who are still quite new to guitar. That is a pretty cool idea, actually. That's a very cool idea, and I like that concept to break down the individual components because then terminology is correct. Like I will say that sometimes even people that are very experienced, that use customary but not correct terminology, it's hard to understand the question. So like, for example, if they get on Dylan Talks Tone and ask me a question about this kind of pickup, for example, do you make P90s for Jazzmasters? Chances are they mean Jazzmaster pickups, but they say P90s because everybody says P90s. So understanding the difference and knowing that that's not actually what it's called and having to have that whole conversation. So your idea for a video is very good, and I will take that under advisement. I like that idea. Might have to do a couple of them so that we can have groups of guitars that will cover, with tremolos and stuff like that, that will cover all of the bases. But I like that idea.
But if you don't know the different types of guitar, it would be better to have a comprehensive video.
Maybe you're right. Yep, you're right.
Even telling them what it is. Shape.
You're right. Good idea. All right. Cool.
All right.
Yep.
This
I like
is
it.
why I couldn't read. So Charles is next. Good evening, Leslie and Dylan. Class was very good last week, but not as cool as hanging out with you guys. Thank you for sharing our Thursday evenings. If you could only afford one guitar, would it be an electric or acoustic? Thank you.
Acoustic all day long. Yep. Yep. I played an electric guitar for the first time. Well, today. In like 3 weeks. I've been playing nothing but acoustic guitar. Except for videos and stuff. But I mean like on my own. Yeah.
Shane. Morning to you all on the other side of the world in the future. I'm a fan of 24 fret guitars, but I never see a 24 fretter with a T-style pickup setup. Why is that?
I think that's probably because they would have to move the pickup. And because in order to make a 24 fret, you would actually have to make the neck longer. And a 22 fret with a little tail stub on it already runs about 1/8 of an inch from the pickup. So if you were to put 24 on it, you would have to move it. And it just wouldn't sound the same. If you move a pickup 1/2 an inch, it sounds totally different. So that's probably why, if I could guess.
Another one from Shane. Dylan, a while back you mentioned you weren't a fan of 70s Japanese guitars. I wonder if you knew that Japanese makers weren't either and actually back then held a conference to improve the quality of their guitars across the board. Do American manufacturers hold industry conferences to discuss issues like quality? And if not, do you think it's a good idea?
I don't know if there is... I don't know the answer to this, is the short answer. I know that, like, when you go to the NAMM show and stuff, there are all kinds of seminars that they send people to, and they do that stuff. But what I do know is that the community's not that big, right? So this guy used to work at Gibson, now he works at Fender, and vice versa. And so there's a lot of like legitimate conversations that happen across the board, because it's not that hard to kind of ascertain what's going on in another company. It's pretty easy, actually, if you know what you're looking at in the business. So I think, and there's a lot of common things. Like, for example, my friend that sells wood. He sells wood to PRS, he sells wood to Martin, he sells wood to Gibson, he sells wood to Fender, he sells wood to Breedlove, he sells wood to Taylor. So, you know, like him and Bob Taylor are really good friends. Him and Andy Mooney are really good friends. Him and a couple of guys at Gibson are really good friends. So there are guys like that who kind of, everybody talks. It's kind of it's more of a, there's probably stuff you don't want to share across the line, but just in the nature of the business, it's not that big. It's not like there's thousands and thousands of people in control of all of that stuff that never talk. They, you know, so I think it happens without realizing it, you know, just because the community is so small. When I was in the dirt bike industry, it was like that too. You could, if you buy a dirt bike magazine or Dirt Rider magazine, and you look at it and you're like, wow, it's this huge business. But you could probably put everybody in the dirt bike business in a Denny's, you know, or whatever, like, you know, Olive Garden, whatever your budget is. If you're in the dirt bike business, it's Denny's. But, you know, it's not that big of a community, and I think these businesses are the same. It's bigger than the dirt bike business, but it's not that much bigger. That's an interesting question, though, because that, yeah.
Robert. Hello, Leslie and Dylan. I want to share this with you and the gang. I'm generally not visible to the parishioners and almost never noticed. Last week, 2 people came to ask me what guitar I was playing. I said Dylan McCurchie's Smoothie. Not the reply they were expecting. The look on their faces was priceless. Thank you for making them for me. Catch you tomorrow.
Thanks, Robert. He really likes those pickups. We don't sell a lot of those, but the people that buy them really like them.
He pops on every time you post a thumbnail to tell us if he's going to be here or not. And he had rehearsal tonight.
Yep.
All right, that was all Patreon.
Cool. I think there's one Patreon question for after hours.
I saw that.
Down there.
Well, I saw it under the line.
Yep,
so.
It's under the line. So, if you have questions, get them in. And let's chat about them. And, we'll see what happens. What time is it? Yeah, 8:20. Sweet.
So, Daniel M. says, Gibson lawsuit. PAF
It's
pickup.
8:21 p.m.
Excuse me for being wrong. I'm sorry.
Daniel says, Gibson lawsuit. PAF pickups and DiMarzio's trademark.
So if you're asking about that. So, basically, what's going on there, I think, is... This is an interesting one, is... DiMarzio has a trademark on 2 things that are concerned in this lawsuit. They trademarked the term PAF as it pertains to pickups. They also trademarked the color of double cream. So you cannot match that color. And so what Gibson is trying to do is say kind of the same thing that everybody said about Fender, and said, well, it's in such common use now, is it even worth having a trademark on? I can see both sides of this one, but so I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out. I'm going to try to get more information on it because I have a friend that's Larry's attorney. And I was going to try to get some more information on it, but I forgot to email him yesterday. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, but people get really bent out of shape about this because they think you can't trademark a color and all that kind of stuff. But, everybody does it. UPS does it, FedEx, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target. Brand colors matter within industries. And so I understand the double cream thing. The PAF thing's interesting because back in the day, because you could say, well, Gibson just slept on it and they missed it. But there was at that point no reason to think that it was going to be a big deal. It's like, Kleenex Kleenex is a bad example. Try to think of a regular word that became a trademarked word later, or it doesn't happen very often. But back in the day, patent applied for, everybody just started saying PAF, right? Mac is an excellent example. So it was Apple, and then it was Macintosh, but everybody called them Macs, so now they trademarked Mac. Okay, that's kind of exactly what happened with the PAF thing. Nobody cared about it because it didn't mean anything. It meant patent applied for. It was an actual technical term to do with, something that had a patent applied for it. It's all across industries. But then people started calling them PAFs, and it became a brand or an identifying mark in itself. And somebody who was smart, Larry DiMarzio, jumped on that and did it. I wish I would have did it. But I wasn't born yet. So, I was born. So it's a thing, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. This one could go either way. I'm interested to see. My thing is funny is everybody's pissed at Gibson for suing everybody until now. Now they're like okay with it.
Rusty Shackleford, wondering how much trouble you have adjusting the truss rod on your telly. Just sold my only one and thinking of getting a vintage too, but I do adjust the roof usually twice a year.
Yeah, twice a year doesn't bother me. I am not, so this is funny. Set it flat, okay? Just set it flat. That's what I would do. And when it comes to guitar maintenance, everybody looks at that different. But I like doing maintenance on my stuff to keep it nice. So all of my knives are sharp. Actually, I noticed that I need to give this one a little hone, so I'll probably do that tonight while I'm watching YouTube. So all of my knives are sharp because while I'm watching YouTube, while I'm Netflixing or whatever.
You say Netflixing.
Netflixing. Yeah. That means I'm watching a cooler show than somebody else is watching. Probably a more boring show, actually.
Amen.
So, while I'm Netflixing or while I'm YouTubing or whatever, I'm sharpening my knife and keeping up on it, and it's a therapeutic thing for me. The guitars are the same thing. Changing strings, everybody's like, I can't stand changing strings, and I want my strings to last forever, and, I don't care about that stuff. I really enjoy it. Just sitting there watching a movie, doing a setup, working on a nut, or whatever it is. So for me to adjust the action on a guitar is like, it doesn't even register in this is annoying because I just have the patience for it. I think it comes from this comes from the dirt bike days. You're working on something, tuning a carburetor at 8,000 feet, and you got to take the needle out and adjust it 5 times, and it might be time number 2 that was right. You just get in your mind that this is the process that I'm going to do, and so when I mentally prepare myself to do it, then it's not annoying because it's, I got to take the seat off, I got to take the subframe off, I got to take the pipe off, I got to do all this stuff. It takes me 15 minutes to get down to the the needle. I do it, I put it all back together. Nope, don't like it. Take it all back apart again, do it again. But that's the day. That's what I plan to do on that Tuesday or whatever it was. The same thing with adjusting guitars. I just don't get and people think they have to adjust their truss rod all the time, and you just don't. Twice a year is probably the most you would ever have to adjust your truss rod. Which is, watch some YouTube, 30 minutes, boom, done.
Yeah, he says, don't you have to take the neck off to adjust the truss rod? That was really the focus of my question.
Yes and no. It depends on the body route. I don't think I have to take mine off. I think I have to take the pick guard off, and I can get in there in between the strings. You don't have to take it all the way off either. You can slack the strings, loosen the screws, and then just pop it up a little bit. Do it, and then punch it back down and just tighten the screws back up. You don't have to take the neck all the way off. Just raise it up a little.
Dean McCaskill says, thanks for the sketch of the jumper. I installed it, and it worked all good.
Oh, my God. Okay. For full-on transparency and customer service stuff, I'm going to tell you the story. I sold him a loaded pickguard, and I shipped it to him. And there's the little jumper on the switch that on a Strat that goes from where the volume knob hooks up to the input of the switch, and it goes over to the other side. And if you do not have that jumper on there, the guitar will be totally dead and will not work at all. He gets it, and he's like, I can't get this thing to work. And he sent me a picture, and he sends me a picture of it, and I'm looking, I'm going, oh, man, because it's the last thing I do. And typically what I do is I'll solder one side of it in and leave it sticking up to remind me to do it. For some reason I didn't. And I forgot to put this jumper on, so his guitar didn't work. So he emails me a picture, and he's like, this is what it is. And I'm at dinner in Aiken the other night when I get this. And I'm like, I have to handle this right now. And I was like, Jeff, pass me a napkin. So he passes me a napkin, and of course I have a pen, and I So as I'm getting this, I get this email, and he's like, "Can you sketch me what to do?" Because and as I'm like drawing it on a napkin to tell him, here's the switch. That's this terminal. It's this wire. Go to here, and if you have a piece of wire at home and you feel comfortable doing it yourself, do it right now because then it's no hold up. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, I'll send you a call tag. I'll do whatever it takes to get you fixed. But if you have a piece of wire sitting right there, maybe it's worth doing. So I'm glad it worked for you. I had to tell you the whole story because I like to be transparent about, I made a mistake about something and it ended up working out. But it was just so funny. Yeah, I'm in a restaurant with a pen and a napkin.
With people who are like, I have no idea.
All my friends are laughing at me. They're like, what are you drawing? And Terry's like, he's probably coming up with some kind of invention over there because that's the kind of stuff he does. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm actually fixing a customer service problem that I feel really bad about.
Stephen Rutherford, Dylan, I got the soap bar P90s you sent me last Friday. My
Sweet.
luthier is installing them in my SG Special. I'm waiting with bated breath to hear if they'll drop into the mini humbucker slots without route.
Excellent. Cool.
Okay, so then here's what people thought the ideas were. Hat Mike said, wasn't it Dylan Sniff's tone? Education says Dylan Fingers tone.
No, we did talk about that.
Rusty said Dylan Brock's tone.
No, it was it wasn't Dylan Moan's tone. It was Mock's. It was Dylan Mock's tone. That's what it was.
You put moan and mock in the same category?
No, because somebody said Dylan Moan's tone too.
Oh,
and I'm like,
funny.
you guys are getting creepy here. This is hilarious.
Creepy.
It was fun though.
Hawkman Hawk says, you can say mean stuff about mine. I can take it about the rigs.
Oh, nah.
Ron Grove said, love the live shows.
Thank you. Speaking of that, we got emails.
I just dismissed a comment on accident.
We got emails and chats and Facebook messages last Thursday after the show and the next morning that were like, thank you so much. We love the off-topic thing afterwards. We're like, this is really fun. We're just glad that you're doing it. And I just want to say thank you for sending those. That was really cool. Yeah.
I have to find this. I think I know the name.
Because sometimes, like tonight, she was super tired. And sometimes we're like, okay, here we go. But once you get going, it's awesome.
Oh, it was a compliment. Okay. I found it. Sean McCartney said, sweet McReady today.
Thank you.
So cool.
I like that guitar a lot. Already.
It's Victoria G says, Dylan can roast the Paul Gilbert JHS pedal I just bought. Never had a distortion pedal, so of course I went with a signature pedal. Even if I hate it, I will ask PG to sign it at the Mr. Big concert in February.
That's so cool.
I think she said last week it's like a farewell tour or something. Coming to Atlanta and Nashville.
Really?
At the Ryman, I think.
Ooh.
That's all I know. I did look.
It would be cool to see Paul Gilbert. He is good, man. My favorite Mr. Big song is kind of an off one. It's Green Tinted 60s Mind. Because I love the weird... It almost sounds like he's playing backwards, but it's because he's got a reverse delay on and he's doing these weird scales, and it's so cool. That's probably my favorite Mr. Big song.
Rusty Fender said it should be Dylan Birth's tone or wrong answers only.
Wrong answers only might be an interesting segment to do. I've thought about a wrong answers. I wasn't calling it that, but that's kind of what it was. I thought about doing some sort of... I actually thought about doing a live stream where me and you switch places and you answer all the questions.
I don't think they would like me anymore.
Do you think we should do that? That would be hilarious.
Why do you put me in these situations?
I don't know. It's funny.
Somebody would be so mad. It'd be their first time here, and they had a serious question, and they'd be like, y'all are ridiculous.
You know what would happen? I would be running that and be missing a bunch of stuff because I'm not as good at it as you are. Is there more questions in there? Let's do it.
Or at least thoughts. I don't know. Questions, thoughts. Edgar Cesario. Really want a St. Vincent Goldie in Velveteen, but I'm okay with just getting the sterling version. If I get it, would you review it, or are you only interested in the higher version?
I would... Okay. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's neat. Yeah, I'd be interested in it. Yeah. That's a cool guitar.
So before we totally move on, and lose context of this thought, it's Victoria G. Green Tinted 60s Mind is the best song. Never would you think tapping could sound so pretty. Mm-hmm. And in the music video, Eric Martin looked like a really pretty lesbian, and I was so conflicted.
That's amazing. Eric Martin, until his later years, and even maybe now, he always has been kind of pretty, huh? A lot of those dudes, though, from that era were...
With their long hair.
Yeah, with their long hair and their eyeliner and makeup and stuff. But some of them weren't. Some of them were just obviously like... You know, Twisted Sister guy, what's his name? He never was pretty. He was like, no. But some of them were.
It's like, no.
I mean, Nelson. They were hot.
Octopus Ear says, okay, wait.
Although I saw them in real life one time, and their hair was so stringy and gross, it did not look anything like it looked in the video.
So it is amazing what hair and makeup can do for people. So I don't want to even say what it was because somebody's going to know who it was. But we used to see a set of siblings at NAMM all the time. And they had really crappy stringy hair. But every time you saw them in pictures or something, it was like, those are some neat looking kids. But then you saw them in person and you're like, eh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way Matthew and Gunnar Nelson were.
Really?
Yeah. To be fair, it was probably some random Thursday before a show or whatever, and they weren't like, you know, traveling hair or whatever. But
let's see.
They definitely weren't as pretty as they are in the videos.
Rick Nelson, I can give further details if needed, but what would make a guitar's saddle intonation show only sharp, never flat, no matter what? My theory is the plywood body convulsions jacking with things.
If it's always sharp, you need more length. Is that nut slot? First of all, your bridge could be in the wrong place. Or your nut slot could be off on that string. If it's one string, it could be the nut slot's off. It could be the saddle has wear in it. It could be a bad string. It's probably not the body. There's probably nothing wrong with the body. Because the scale length is only to do with between the saddle and the nut. So the only things that could happen is you could have the nut worn in a spot where it's giving you a false stop on that end, where the length is like the length is supposed to be in a straight line, but then that one's worn, so it's a little bit back further. But that would make it forward. It's possible that your other strings are worn too. Yeah, if your nut is worn or if you have worn saddles, those would be my first steps that I would check. Or your bridge is in the wrong place.
Hammock Campo says, what is the trust rod anyways?
Oh, the truss rod. That is the rod that when the guitar is really old and you adjust the neck relief, you hope it doesn't break. No, so the truss rod is...
Yeah, so it's Truss.
Yes.
Truss.
Here, hang on. Let me grab a guitar. I like that people are asking simple questions or, See my broken string? Okay, so in a guitar, the strings have tension on them, right? And so it's kind of like wanting to bend the guitar this way, like fold the guitar. Like if you could imagine the tension of the strings is pulling inward, so it's kind of like wanting to fold the guitar this way. So even a couple thousandths of an inch will make a difference in the setup of the guitar. So what there is there's a rod that goes through the neck, and it's fixed on this end. Well, in this guitar it is. It's fixed on this end, and when you tighten it, it's sort of like a turnbuckle where you tighten, like on a screen door. You know what I'm talking about? Like on an old screen door where you tighten it up and it pulls it tight. This is sort of like that, where there's a rod in here and a nut on the end, and when you tighten it up, it bends the rod and it puts more tension on the neck to offset the tension of the strings. And so what that does is that establishes how flat the neck is, even though the tension of the strings are on there. And you would only adjust this for a couple of reasons. One, because it would basically be flat, maybe with a couple thousandths of an inch in the middle. And the only couple reasons you would adjust it is when the weather changes, the wood expands and contracts in the guitar. And so sometimes it relaxes the tension or it brings the tension too tight. So you may have to adjust it. And when we're talking adjusting, you put the wrench in there and you literally only adjust it like this far, like an eighth of a turn or a quarter of a turn. The other time you would adjust it is if you changed string gauges. So if you went from 9s to 10s, would probably not require an adjustment. If you went from 9s to 11s, maybe you would require an adjustment. Or if you're going to an alternate tuning, anything that would tighten up the guitar or relax the guitar too much might need an adjustment. So some people that will tune a half step down and then put lighter strings on it, now the guitar's too relaxed and we got to tighten it up some, would be an example. I forgot the strings in the car the other day. That's why I haven't changed the strings on that yet. After I've made that whole spiel about how I do it right away and I don't.
Mr. Goat said, if you haven't bought a smoothie, you should. Unless Dylan is running low on materials. Then they stink and don't buy them, so I can buy them.
Nah, we're good. Don't worry about it.
Angel Raven 444 says, I messed up a guitar. I tried to solder a new set of pickups and it never worked so far. So far, I had to buy a couple of guitars to compensate for the mistake. Hod 8. What do you think of Jupiter Bumblebee caps versus Emerson?
I think both of them are a waste of money. I think that Emerson caps, if you put orange drop in something, you'll be just fine. Unless you want to aesthetically make it look a certain way, I think that you're wasting your money and you should spend it elsewhere.
Rusty Fenders said, I saw a guy get roasted on Reddit because he modded his 65 Mustang after Kurt Cobain. Kind of like Kurt would have done himself. I guess they missed the point.
Exactly.
And then he also said, I worked on a Fender... I just read his name again. Rusty Fenders also said, I worked on a Jaguar bass today and the truss rod nut was completely loose. I was able to get it back again and it removed the relief. I got lucky.
Nice. Yeah, on old guitars, truss rods can get a little shady because people will over tighten them or they'll let them get corroded and then they'll break. And then the neck is kind of junk.
Timothy Potter said, I absolutely love your Siltonen guitar. That thing is gorgeous. The pinup girl stickers just rock.
Thank you. I love that guitar too.
Octopus Ears, is there an aftermarket equivalent to the pickups that are in my 96 EBMM Axis?
I'm trying to remember what it is. Hang on. I think I have an answer for you, but I think... Hang on. I think I have an answer for you. Yes. I would say our... Let me just make sure of what's in this one. These are really cool guitars, by the way. Super 8s. Our Super 8s would be what I would put in that guitar.
Super chat from Van Shank Guitars. Thank you for the super chat, Ivan. He said, Rick Bonneville is enjoying one of the first basses I made. I'm glad someone is playing one of my creations.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. I think he's over there.
Over where?
I think they're hanging out.
Again? They've hung out before.
Oh, okay.
Did you just go back in time?
Maybe. I don't know.
Creepy.
Thank you for the super chat, Ivan.
Angel Raven 444. How come the guitar industry makes things quick connect instead of solder so we ham-fisted fools can change things around?
I've always wondered that. I think the biggest thing is because all the vintage freaks and tone freaks will think that it's not as good. Gibson tried it, and it's great, and everybody hated it. I don't know why. Because I agree. Molex connectors... You know, this is what I go back to. Guitars are dumb. Okay? They are dumb. Like, if this is a smartphone, a guitar... And this is what I mean by this. If this is a smartphone, then guitars are as dumb as a thing can get. Besides maybe like a baseball bat. Like, they are so low tech. And what makes them work is so simple. It is like E over IR and some inductance and some capacitance. In the like simplest terms, simplest electronic theory to make the thing work. So it should be no big deal. I mean, my Audi has, I don't know how many miles of wires in it. And I don't know how many computers, probably 30 computers to make the thing run. And digital stuff is like a quarter of a volt and the whole computer doesn't work. And they're all connectors. And space shuttles are connectors, and airplanes are connectors, and boats are connectors. Everything in the world is solderless connectors, and everything is fine. Except for guitars. And I don't understand, I'm trying to make a point. It's not totally true, but you know what I mean. I don't understand it. And I think it's because people don't want it because they think it will affect the tone, bro. And it just doesn't.
Rick Nelson is the one that had the question about the sharp.
Yes.
He said it's mainly on the top 3 to 4 strings. Frets and scale length checks out 24 and 5/8. Yes, 5/8. Filed nut and saddles with high-end tools. Peterson HDC Korg pitch black. I could have goofed something, but only sharp.
Yeah, something is goofed. On 4 strings. Yep. I would start over with the nut. And I would remeasure your, here's what I would do. When I get out of whack with something like this, whatever the scale length of the guitar, 24 and 5/8 doesn't sound right. But, whatever your scale length is on the guitar, you know it better than I do. And that might be the problem. Because I don't know what it is. If it's something that somebody built, if it's not like an industry guitar that you bought somewhere that is put together like with proper parts, then one of the things that could happen is it could be a scale length of body, which means the bridge is in a certain spot, and a scale length of the neck, which means the frets would now be in a wrong spot. Because something you got to remember, and this should be really basic, but I've seen people make this mistake before. When you stretch the scale length, okay, you don't just make it longer. So you can't take you can't just move the bridge and now the scale length is longer and reset the intonation. You can't do that because all the fret sizes, the fret distances between them have to accordion out and accordion in. 24/7/5 scale frets between the first and the second are closer together than 25.5 scale frets. They're a little further apart. So everything has to accordion in and out. And what it sounds like to me is you've got something in the wrong place. So here's what I would do. Whatever the scale length of the guitar is supposed to be, measure that from the inside of the nut to the very inside point of the high E string. Okay? And get that mathematically correct. So on a 25.5 inch scale, measure it to exactly 25.5 inch. Then set that with a tuner, and I bet it will be perfect. Then move your B string back half the distance of the difference between the two strings. So if you have 10 here and 13 here, move it back about 2 thousandths. Then from the 10th from the 13th to the 17th, that's 4. So move it back 2.5 or 3 thousandths. And so on. Do that going all the way up. Mathematically get it as close as possible. And then check it with the tuner. And if it's not right, something else is wrong with the guitar. That's like 2 YouTube videos or 2 Netflix movies of messing around. Any of these setup steps, once you understand how they work, and you cannot complete them in 15 minutes, something's wrong. Because it's not that hard. I know a lot of people haven't done it before, so they might feel like it's a difficult thing to complete. But the things themselves are very simple, and once you get a grasp of what they are, every step on the guitar, setup-wise, should take 15 minutes. Somebody posted in the Facebook group last night, I've been working on this Floyd Rose for 6 hours, and I'm like, dude, I could have it done in 10 minutes. But it's just understanding how it all works, and then it will work. If you're fighting with it, you're either missing a fundamental of how it's set up, or you have a problem with your guitar. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, like they're trying to actually learn and know. So that's why I don't feel like, oh, dummy, you totally missed this step. That ain't fair.
Rick Birdwell said, I replaced an acoustic saddle, had no tuning issues. Put in elixir, same gauge, and the B string is way off intonation.
Mm-hmm. Because the string diameter is different.
David Girala, I have a GNL ASAT, just like the one in your intro video, and hand to God, the neck is actually a baseball bat.
That's the guitar I played at. We shot that thing at Flipside Music that one time.
I was going to say, that's the only time I remember seeing him was Flipside.
Yeah. GNL ASAT.
Marcia Murray says, I wonder how intonation would be swapping necks on Jaguars and Jazzmasters.
It wouldn't work because the scale length is different.
That's what Victoria G said. Their response was disastrous. That's an even bigger change. 24 inches versus 25.5 inches.
Would not work.
Would not work. Oh, let's scroll like that. Let's see. Sunbay says, I think some of us like solder over quick connect for customizing and modding. I've put 30-year-old pickups in new guitars. Ain't putting 30-year-old parts in a new car.
Well, yeah, and that's true. No, that is definitely true. I like to solder, so it doesn't bother me. But again, that's one of those skills that people, sometimes they have a hard time with it. Sometimes it's difficult. And I love it, though. I was thinking about that this morning as I was doing something. I'm like, this is fun.
Lucas M. said, I'd love your opinion about G2655 Gretsch from Streamliner Gretsch line.
Those are cool. Those are cool. Some of them, some of them you have to fiddle with, like if you have a Bigsby on them and it's a B500 instead of a B5, or a B50 instead of a B5. Sometimes you got to fiddle with them a little bit to get them to stay in tune, but they're cool. I don't have a Gretsch anything.
Jose Keller said, good evening, everyone. I'm just landing here now, probably missing the point entirely. But when I read controversial and guitars on the same sentence, my mind automatically thinks about a Rickenbacker.
Oh, yeah. Nobody mentioned Rickenbacker. Thanks for showing up and doing that. That's cool. I can't stand the things.
BC Rich 581 said, no controversy about Rickenbackers. It's clearly a truss rod system designed by Satan.
Well, that's what the guy was saying about Floyd Rose's last night. He's like, the devil obviously designed these. And whoever, yeah. So funny.
4 minutes, all caught up.
Wow, cool. You have a couple of minutes to get a question in that is guitar related, and then we're going to switch to off topic.
Rick Nelson said, the fretwork and bridge matches my Crimson Guitars fret scale ruler. It's an Indonesian model of BC Rich bronze. I understand quite a bit, but I'm stumped. I don't want to hound you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I would start over and I mean, I hate to say that, but I would start over with the E string, measure it, get it mathematically correct, and then tune that and work your way through one string at a time. And here's the reason. You're really only compensating for the difference between the diameters of the strings to keep the scale length the same. So if you have all of your strings, like your B, your G, and your... So really what should happen is your E should be at the scale length, your high E. Then your B should be pulled back just a little. Then your G should be pulled back just a little more than that. Then it should step forward a little bit and kind of reset because of the 3 wound strings. But then the D should be at a certain spot. Then the A should be a little bit behind that. And the E should be a little bit behind that. If you run out of adjustment, or you have them where they're not 3 angled like this, where you've got one way back, it's because you've got a problem with that string. So I wouldn't... It's pretty easy to tell when you have something else going on in the guitar. It should be more or less a uniform angle kind of back from high to low, and then from high to low kind of like this. And if you've got one that's way back, or if you've got one that you ran out of screw on, or I hear this all the time, like, well, I ran out of room, so I just cut the spring. Like, fix it. Like, that, don't do that. Like, something's wrong. So yeah, go through it real easy like that, and send me a picture, actually, if you want. Once you get it to where you think it should be and it's still not right, send me a picture. Or on Patreon. Message me on Patreon. I don't know if you're on Patreon, but that would be a reason to be on Patreon. message me on Patreon and I will look at it.
All right, a few more.
Okay.
Let's see. Charlie Williams, what's your honest opinion of Gibson SGs? What do you think is good or bad about them?
I've got one coming next week or the week after. I think they're amazing. I love them. I mean, I have one right there. And, oh, no, I took it down. It's in the case. SGs are awesome. I think everyone should have one. I think they're great. People will complain about neck dive, but that's because they don't rock hard enough.
Wow.
It's true.
Rick,
Play guitar with two hands, like a normal person, and neck dive will not be a problem.
Rick Birdwell says, I'm 61 and finally got the cajones to build my own Strat. Turned out beautifully and plays and sounds
Dude,
great.
that's cool.
Similarly, Michael Gilkinson says, going to build my own Strat from a kit. Any wisdom?
That is an open question. Depends on how crazy you want to get. Yeah. We have loaded pick guards that, with all the pickups and stuff in it, solder all together. You just drop it in and solder your ground and your output jack on. So let me know when you get that far. Have fun with that, though. Like, really enjoy that. That's really cool.
All right. Out of time. What time is it?
It is 9 o'clock. 9:02. It is off-topic time. So here's how this works, folks. We do this just to hang out with y'all and get to know y'all as best we can through, comment sections. Ask whatever question you want. It cannot be about guitars unless it's in a super chat. You can ask a super chat you can ask a guitar question after 9 o'clock, but it has to be in a super chat. If you don't want to use a super chat, join Patreon and do it on there and have it featured at the top of the show next week, or come back earlier next week and ask your question or whatever. Or you could use a super chat and ask a guitar question. Every other question that's not a super chat has to be off topic. And if you're on Patreon or YouTube members, you can ask those ahead of time too.
Like
this one right here.
Mr. Goat did. What are you guys doing for Christmas?
Christmas with a T. Nothing. Nothing. In fact, I was going to make a post on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
That we are going to move.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. We're going to move our Patreon hangout till New Year's Day. Because New Year's Eve is the thing that everybody cares about, right? Like New Year's Day. I'm thinking most of the guys that usually hang out with us in this thing are going to be cool with doing it on New Year's Day. But that will be January. But there's also 5 Mondays in January, so we'll keep on going. It'll be fine.
Okay. So not this
this
the 25th.
Monday. Right.
But the 1st.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do our monthly hangout on January 1st. Because nobody wants to work on Christmas, including me. That being said, we're not going to do anything. I hope. But other off-topic questions are over there.
13, a vomit. I don't know what that says. You got yourself an Emerson there, bud? That was a question.
Ooh.
And so Timothy Potter said, what's flippin'?
Interesting that you caught that. This is not an Emerson, actually. She has an Emerson ProTech. This is not an Emerson. This is a Les George Rockeye. So it does look like it has the little Emerson thing, but it's actually a Les George. It's a ProTech, but it's a Les George design. Yep. Good eye, though. Catching the little Emerson hook, even though it's not an Emerson. That's cool.
Okay, and then Octopus Ears. I did hold your question to the end. They just asked it again. Were you an expert level rider? Expert class rider?
No. I was not. I was never fast enough for competition. So it's the same thing with the guitar stuff. I am better behind the scenes than actually on stage. And it's the same thing with the dirt bike stuff. I was not fast enough, so that's why I invented parts and did engineering and behind the scenes stuff and owned a race team and all that. Yeah. I love it though. It's my favorite thing.
Metal So says, have you shaved your face with DE or straight razor?
I have not.
What's DE?
I don't know what
Oh,
that is. I know what a straight razor is though.
yeah.
I've thought about buying one.
Would you let me cut your face with a straight razor?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care. You know, I use a electric rotary. So I've tried all kinds of things. My problem is that I have Native American face. And so it's really spotty. And some of those other methods, because my hair grows all different directions. And so that's why I was always wondering if a straight razor would even work. Because I would literally I couldn't go all directions to do it. That's one of the reasons why I use a rotary, because of the way you use a rotary. Because I even tried like a Braun style, Remington style, what do they call those? The oscillating
yeah.
foil ones, and it didn't work. So I have to use the rotary one so that I can do the circular motion, because I have, right in this area especially, I have hairs that they go every different direction. So I have to, yeah. I hate shaving. I hate it. But I can't grow something cool because I'm Native American. I don't get all the cool spot. Like, it just wouldn't come out right. So I have to do it. I tried to do No Shave November once.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was before you.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't remember.
It was before you.
Tom Feidler, what would you use to clean a true Damascus knife that got rust from sitting in a leather sheath?
The first thing that comes to mind, because I know that they suggest to do it with Japanese kitchen knives that are Damascus, would be Barkeeper's Friend. Because and just use it like with a paper towel or with your finger. Don't use any kind of scouring pad or anything. But I think Barkeeper's Friend might work. If it's rusted, it won't come out.
Rusty Fenders, speaking of, says, ever tried Coquito? It's also known as Puerto Rican eggnog. It's basically coconut milk, coconut cream, and rum. Really sneaks on you.
I actually have.
I have not. If it's really just coconut based,
So-
I'll try it.
So,
But it has eggnog in the name.
yeah, I didn't know what it was called. All I know is I have a friend from, I think he's maybe from Jamaica or from somewhere in the islands. When I lived in New York, and so what we did was we took a coconut, you drill a hole in it, and you pour out the milk that's in it. Like, because there's liquid in it.
I thought that was the water. Isn't the milk
Yeah,
made from the pulp?
Yeah, but I'm saying, whatever. They call it coconut. Whatever, when you pour it
Yes.
out, the water that's inside. So anyway, you pour it out. Then you take a funnel and you fill it until it's all the way full with Bacardi 151. And you have to use Bacardi 151 because the alcohol content is super high. Something that high anyway. And then you plug it up and put it in the freezer for like a month. And it turns into a coconut Bacardi 151 slushy. And it is amazing.
You don't even like coconut that much.
I like it in alcohol. I like the alcohol more than the coconut, but yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was really good. It was really good, but it took a long time, you know.
I mean, this sounds like a recipe, like not an experiment.
Now, that's the only way I've ever had something like that.
Oh, Rusty Fender says it usually has milk, but you can make a version without cow milk.
That makes sense.
Coquito. Sounds yummy.
It does sound yummy.
It's weird to think, like, that sounds like
Something from Colombia.
like you would have it this time of year, since they're calling it like an eggnog, but when you
That
think
sounds
of
like
coconut,
a summer,
it sounds like a summer
like a beach
thing.
drink. Yeah. But you know what? If you're south of the equator, it is.
Always, right?
Yeah. Speaking of alcohol, I haven't had a drink in a long time.
Rusty Fender says Bacardi 151 is a great way to get arrested.
Yeah, for streaking.
Let's see. Octopus Ear says, I grew up on motorcycles. Ricky Carmichael is my hero.
I can't stand Ricky Carmichael. But I have my own personal reasons for that. Yeah. My guy, I had two guys. My two guys were, three. And partially because I knew a couple of them, partially was because they were cool. But Jeremy McGrath, Doug Henry, and Travis Pastrana. Yep. Doug Henry was the first person to ever win a Supercross on a four-stroke on a YZ400.
All right. Charlie Williams says, what shows are you watching on Netflix at the moment? Since you're Netflixing earlier.
Yeah, so speaking of boring, there's a whole bunch of World War II stuff. I'm a huge history nerd, so there's a bunch of World War II stuff that's based on all this footage that's been recently found and colorized. And so it's been very interesting. I've been going through. There's two documentary series. One's about like the final days, and then one's more like chronologically the different areas. So like while this is happening on the Western Front, this is happening on the Eastern Front, this is happening in Japan, like that kind of stuff. Or you know, in the ocean, in the Pacific theater. Anyway, yeah, that's what I've been watching lately, and that's been the last couple of days.
I'm still on a English dub show kick, and I saw when I looked today though that the final episodes of The Crown are now available. The second half of the newest season.
Mm-hmm. So we don't watch the same thing.
Nope.
We both have iPads and earbuds, and the television. So we will usually watch whatever we're watching.
Television is his.
Yeah. And I watch a lot of YouTube too. YouTube's been weird lately, though. I think I screwed up my feed.
Oh, were you looking for something or?
Well, I got curious about a thing, and I watched a video about it, and it completely took over my feed. And so I've had to actually go in my feed. I figured this out recently, that you can not interested in this, it's just like on Twitter, where you can be like not interested in this, and try to shape it back how you want it. But obviously, well, you all don't know because I haven't talked about it much, but I've been going down this whole fountain pen rabbit hole lately. So there's a whole bunch of fountain pen videos in my feed right now, and yeah. So
Timothy Potter said, I loved dirt bikes too. Fast Enough was very scary. I only did it once and it was like time compressed. Scared the shit out of me. I knew many guys that did that every time. Not sure how they did it.
I love going fast. So I didn't do supercross and motocross stuff. We did desert racing stuff. So like one of my friends that we worked a lot with Red Bull and Honda, he won the Baja 1000 7 times. And so we'd go to Mexico. That's how I broke my collarbone in Mexico, going 4 miles an hour. But earlier that day, we're doing 100 on the beach. You know, I love desert racing. I love going fast off-road. I really loved it. I couldn't do it now because my back's broke, but I thought about wanting to do it in a race car, though.
Angel Raven 444 said, instead of turkey, what do you have at Christmas? I don't even know people that have turkey at Christmas.
Yeah. What do people eat at Christmas?
Turkey was a Thanksgiving,
That's Thanksgiving
thing.
At least around here.
Yeah.
We're in the South, man. What do you eat at Christmas? Ham?
I feel like ham is more common here.
Yeah, I feel like the Christmas ham is the thing.
I mean, we're having none of the above.
No, we don't eat that stuff. I don't... We are not... I think we might have talked about this probably around Thanksgiving time, because it was a Thursday. We are not big, like... I don't know. Food doesn't rule events for us. We are exploratory with food. Like, oh, I want to go try this restaurant. And that kind of stuff. But we are not like... I don't know. Hey, do you want to come over Friday? That might be... Bring some beer and I'll bring some chips. Like, it's not going to be surrounding a meal. We don't...
I would rather have, like, drinks and...
A charcuterie board.
Snack food than meals.
Yeah, we don't...
In general, because I also eat like a toddler when I'm home. So.
That's true. Me too. Yeah, I had a peanut butter jelly sandwich before we came live, because I was like...
I had chocolate almond butter toast for dinner.
Did you really?
Yeah.
No, literally... I was just telling you before the live stream, I was like, I ate like a little kid today. I mean, I ate good, but I had an avocado toast for breakfast, and then like 2 o'clock, I made a salad, and it was really good. I put everything that I could find.
I didn't tell what you were eating. I just knew you were loud, because I was in a meeting.
Oh.
And it was like rocks, and I was like, what is he? I didn't know if he ate pita chips, but as soon as you were like, I had a salad, I was like, no, he ate croutons.
I did. I ate croutons. Yeah, my salads are croutons and a piece of lettuce. No, not really. I made a whole big salad. But then about 15 minutes before we went live, I was like, I haven't eaten anything since like 2 o'clock, and I'm hungry. But the fastest, easiest thing was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like,
well, I tried one of the...
On toast, of course.
Curry soups that I bought.
Yeah.
It was red curry. And I think it had lentils and shiitake mushrooms in it.
Ooh. And
I just heated a little bit of that up and a little bit of quinoa.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty good.
Is there one up there that's lentils? Like a lentil soup?
Yeah.
I've been eyeballing that, like I want to eat that.
You've had it before.
I know. Did I like it? I think I did.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Anyway, I keep seeing that. I'm like, that looks good. And then I'm like too lazy to cook it.
Because it takes all of 2 minutes. Good job. Vinny's World said, made it. Nice t-shirt.
Thanks, man. I'm proud of this one. Leslie designed it. I had the idea, and then I was like...
There are better ones. He likes the simplest
This
one.
was the... Well, I wanted to try it. There is a better one.
Brianna said about the other one?
What?
We know the intent in which it was made. Brianna was like, oh, that looks like old skating rink carpet. And I was like, yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Well, we should probably put that one up on the website then, because I think people would probably buy that one.
Oh. Tom Feidler said, I got some gingerbread rum waiting for next week. I've never had gingerbread rum. That sounds delicious.
It does. We are definitely...
Fall is my favorite time of flavor.
I was about to say, we are definitely in caramel liquor in tea season.
Yeah.
Whatever that...
Anything apple, spice, caramel, cinnamon. Mm-hmm. I love all of those things.
Yep. And since we rearranged the kitchen and put the espresso machine on the other side, I've been like, I need to use that thing more. And I almost made some today, but I got sidetracked doing something else. But I was like, you know what? Booze and coffee. Because we have that coffee liqueur that we got in Michigan. And We have some other stuff too.
Do we still have that?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No.
we bought more. That's why.
We still have it. We have some, yeah.
But that's the second time we've bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just the warm inside kind of feeling stuff. That's why I'm drinking scotch right now, because it just feels like winter, you know?
I'm sure people where it's actually winter don't agree with us, but
I know.
it's cold to us.
It's cold to us.
I took a nap today under my heated blanket.
It's 42 outside. It's going to be
30.
It's going to be 33 tonight. We're definitely into the season of making sure that the temperature doesn't get super low so the van doesn't freeze. Because we never winterize the van because we use it. So that means you have to like stay on top of the weather, and if it's going to be cold, go turn the furnace on in the van and let it run overnight and make sure there's propane in there and that kind of stuff. So we're kind of in that time of year now. January and February is going to be colder, but hopefully by then we'll have a better plan. You eyeballing some more questions?
Yeah, I was trying to catch up.
Sweet.
Octopus Ear says, my favorite rider I met was Ernesto Fonseca.
Oh, he's so cool.
Met him before his injury. The nicest guy. Real sad what happened. My favorite rider is probably Ryan Hughes. Just a total badass.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
It's Victoria G. I have to share this one because I feel this. Not for the same reason. It's Victoria G. said, nothing worse than going to a catered function and the salad having the croutons already in the salad. Salad is for certain gluten-free, and then they ruined it, soiled it. I agree, because most people put the cheese in the salad. Mm-hmm. People think cheese goes on everything. And it's like, no.
Yeah. Don't put cheese in it.
Cheese ruins it for us.
Yep.
So I feel that. It's Victoria G. said, OMG, skating rink carpet design. I already know I'm going to love it.
Well, I will put it on the website as soon as we're done with the live stream tonight.
Angel Raven 444 said, I haven't done Christmas since 1991. Do you do Christmas, or what other thing do you do? I feel like we've had this conversation before. I feel like I've read I haven't done Christmas since 1991 before.
Yeah, no, we don't.
We do not.
No.
And the only other thing we do is accept the national holidays and rest.
Yes.
Because I don't have to work.
And travel sometimes.
Not this time, though.
Not this time. Yeah, we stayed. It's funny because you got Thanksgiving week off, and we didn't go anywhere. We're not going anywhere for Christmas. You have 4 days off, right?
Yep.
I'm busy though, so it's almost more my fault because I have to do stuff. Well, and I was just telling Leslie this morning, we're kind of slow right now. Not slow, but we were really busy in November. And it's a little slower because right before Christmas, I think we're solidly in the I'm not allowed to buy that until after Christmas zone. And so we are making pickups every day and people are buying things every day, but it's a little slower than it was last month. And it's kind of nice, actually. I hate being slow. It drives me crazy. But I also have enjoyed the last week or so of chilled out pace. Well, and I had to have tooth work done. We were talking about that too. I haven't had a normal week in a couple of months because I keep having stuff and doctor's appointments, and messing with my teeth has been an absolute.
I have no idea what this is. Timothy Potter says, I was eating Pfeffernuss tonight, a German cookie my wife's family has been making for centuries. Amazing, but it isn't vegan because I wanted to send you some. Sorry.
I don't know what that is.
German cookie. Metal Soso said, for my pens, I use the space pen, pressurized ink, and it writes upside down. Same.
Yeah, she has this Fisher Space Pen. I have one too. My main one that I use until my new one comes in. My main one that I use is a tactile turn, a little titanium pen because it fits in my pocket. And I have a copper full-length version of this. But the fountain pen thing has been just really fun. Like I've been writing like every day, like actually writing, and just like stream of consciousness stuff, like journaling, like, and it's really helping me to be more organized and more deliberate with my day, I guess.
Benny's World said, now that you mentioned all those spices, do you guys make flavored coffee drinks or just straight?
We do some flavored coffee drinks. We have a bunch of syrups and stuff. I don't typically default to them.
I've used, I bought a chai tea, but it just is like an instant. It's not true chai. And it doesn't have enough cinnamon for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I added like cinnamon syrup, just a dash. Because the tea is actually not that good, but I spent a lot of money on it, so I feel like I have to drink it. So.
I like coffee so much that I don't want to ruin it with anything.
Don't make it enough.
Yeah.
Timothy Potter said he wants the carrot shirt.
I'll put it on the website. I think it's amazing.
So people got it? Or
Doug.
did you have to tell them?
Doug is like,
Santaniella?
yeah. He's like, did I miss something about Peyronie's disease? And I was like, sweet, somebody got it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
That's funny. Judy Martins said, Dylan, do you ride dirt bikes? I see the dirt bike helmet. Eli Tomac is back and ready to rule Supercross.
Yep, I've seen that. I used to. That is actually the helmet that I broke my back in. That helmet saved my life right there. It's all beat up. It's all busted. But I keep it because that was an important day in my life.
Curtis Chavez says, I love coffee-flavored coffee. Same.
Yeah, I just like, I experiment with beans and roasts and stuff, but I don't typically...
Now I want coffee.
I mean...
It would have to be decaf, though,
have
for
to be
me.
decaf at this late of hour.
Since I took a nap, also.
True.
I'm all about a nap.
Mm-hmm. You'll still sleep, though.
For sure. That's why I don't want caffeinated coffee, though. I would probably still sleep if I had caffeinated coffee, though. Timothy Potter said the tactile turn will also go through a perp's neck if needed.
So I used to have, I sold it, but I used to, who bought it? One of y'all bought it from me. Somebody who watches this on YouTube or follows me on Facebook. I used to have a Microtech.
Is that the mean-looking one?
The mean-looking one that, basically, it was Reich Knives did it for Microtech. But it was like it was a self-defense pen. And it, you held it like this, and it had a glass breaker on one end, and it had like a spear point on the other. But, yeah. I have a bunch of pens. It's weird that I have gotten into them. But it just spills over from all the other EDC stuff. That.
Not fountain pens.
Yeah.
Now you're getting, like, fancy.
Oh, no. I got a big idea designs fountain pen coming. It's titanium, and it's this long when it's closed. And then when you post it, it gets this long. Mm-hmm. So that it's, like, full size, but it's titanium. It has a Coquito nib in it. And it's supposed to be super duper heavy duty, like you can carry it in your pocket and stuff. So I'm interested. I have a Waterman that I'm gonna give Brianna. I was telling her yesterday.
Oh, is she interested?
Well, we were talking
Does
about
she
the
still
other
have
day
a
because
note-
she
yeah,
writes.
she
She
still
writes
has a
every
journal,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not me. I write on an iPad.
You write on an iPad. I actually have my. This is my Pinnator or Pinnator La Bellazza Grande, whatever. I forget what it's called, but anyway, this thing's awesome. It's magnetic. So this clicks on with a magnet, and then this, and I fixed this. The reason it wasn't sticking properly is because when I got
it's
it,
a little more secure.
Yeah. So, and it's polarized. So when you put the pin, when you put it on there, it only goes one way. It, like if you put it on backwards, it spins around and clicks in one spot. So the magnet is actually polarized.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What else y'all got? Watch out for Hayden Deegan. He's a contender for a title this year. Is he related to Haley Deegan?
Yeah, he's Brian's son.
Isn't that her dad?
Mm-hmm. I've known Brian for a long time. Brian is the coolest dude. Yep.
I follow her on like TikTok for some reason. I don't know why. It's just neat to see like her perspective of such a male-dominated industry.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just having fun.
Yes.
But she's also pretty good. Like,
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I think about that. Like, if you look at Formula One, you look at NASCAR, you look at anything professional, you know, the highest level of whatever that sport is. So if you look at cup drivers in NASCAR, you look at Formula One. And, okay, so she's driving a truck in the truck series, and she's not that great in the truck series. But she's faster than anybody I know. You know what I mean? Like, those people are on such another level that the worst guy is better than anything you could imagine, you know? Which is crazy how much skill they can have.
Angel Raven 444 said, I used to sell pins door to door. Thanks for the trauma.
Oh my God. That's funny. I remember those pen salesmen.
Octopus Ear said, Travis Pastrana is a real life superhero.
Man, he's such a cool guy. He's like so nice. So nice. I remember one time I was in Mexico. We were down there for the Baja 1000. And it was like the night before. It was the night before the Baja 1000. And there's a road that when they come out of Ensenada, they go down into this wash. And it's like it's not the starting line, but it's like maybe, I don't know, like a half a mile from the starting line. Because they go through town. And there's just thousands of people everywhere. And they put a jump in, like an artificial jump, and it's got like a big Red Bull balloon that goes over it and all that. This year, anyway, that I was down there. Anyway, there's this big jump there. And we're on it's like an overpass of this street, and I'm standing up there, and I'm just standing there, just watching people, because it was just so funny. It's just and there's these people on dirt bikes, and they're trying to jump over it, and people with really crappy trucks, and like they're trying to jump over and stuff. Next thing you know, I thought it was a kid because he was like being all neurotic and weird. And this is a long time ago, so we were all very much younger. And Travie P comes up and he goes, "Hey," I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Do you think my Dodge Diesel could jump that?" Next thing you know, all piled in his truck, and we're jumping it. I have a picture of everybody's hands out the window, and it was a brand new Dodge Diesel at that time, like all four wheels in the air, this huge truck, and everybody's got their hands out the window. We had somebody I got a picture of that somewhere. Yep.
Cool. That's it. 9:30.
All right. You guys, this has been fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a video tomorrow or not.
I thought not.
Yeah, probably not. I have to go. So, off-topic thing I'll tell you about.
This is a Southern goodbye right here. Go ahead.
Okay. Our son's getting married in 2 months.
Less.
Less than 2 months. And I'm officiating it. And so I have to go find out tomorrow what I have to do to be ordained in Georgia to do it. So that's what my morning is going to consist of. And, it concerns you, so I'm not going to tell you about it. But I'm also investigating something very cool that you will know about, hopefully, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not going to say anything about now.
Top secret.
Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, hit the button. All that stuff. See you guys.